When I was 25, I moved to the UK because I wanted to travel. I came here to work so I could travel. All of my money went to booking flights and seeing new countries. First abandoned house on the Chernobyl tour. Good morning. I didn't regret it. Until I got into personal finance. Personal finance gurus on YouTube told me that instead of traveling in my 20s, I should have been investing. I should have been living below my means to become a millionaire in my 30s. I could travel once I'm a millionaire. I felt instant regret for the choices I had made. I felt like I needed to make up for lost time, so I put a bunch of money into the stock market. This was a really bad move because the stock market went down shortly after that, and I did not have any money left in savings. If you're investing, you need money in liquidity, at least 3 to 6 months, ideally more, for an emergency fund. But because I spent so much of my 20s traveling instead of investing, I felt like I was behind and I needed to catch up. Luckily, I didn't need to take that money out of investments, but in case I did, I would have been screwed. You are not behind with investing. If you did not start at 20, that is completely okay. The most important thing about personal finance is that you learn about personal finance. You learn how to manage your money and to save and to invest. There's no time frame. There's no magic number of how old you need to be able to do this. Then I had a realization. Well, a few realizations. First, there's no guarantee that I would even make it to 30. As tragic as it sounds, each day isn't guaranteed. If I were to die tomorrow, do you really think my last thought would be, I'm glad I had this amount of money in my bank account? The dead can't spend money. Another thing I realized is that traveling in your 20s is not the same as traveling in your 30s. When I was 25, I didn't mind staying at cheap hostels and staying up all night with strangers I had just met. Now that I'm close to 30, that lifestyle doesn't appeal to me anymore. But I'm glad I did it while I could. Some of my favorite memories while traveling has been meeting fellow young people from around the world and sharing the novelty of a new city with them. Also, I had realized that all the traveling I had done had helped me build up the essential skills that I needed to generate wealth. For example, travel trains you to live on less. When you're living out of a small suitcase, you really learn that you don't need a lot of things to be happy. It forces you to get comfortable with only having a certain amount of clothes and living frugally. You learn that you don't need a stacked wardrobe or to follow fashion trends. There are more important things in life than materialistic items. It not only helps your wallet living frugally, but it also helps your mental health. It is well known that materialism is linked to depression and anxiety. I only buy clothes when I absolutely need to, and I know I'll wear them more than once. Traveling also helps you to budget. When you're a broke 20-something and you're traveling, you have no choice but to find the best deals and to spend as little money as possible. Being able to explore a new place while also being financially conscious is an amazing skill to have. Sometimes this means that you're staying in a dodgy hostel with 20 other people sharing the same dorm. Sometimes it can mean choosing to walk instead of take public transport. Sometimes it can mean having dinner at a cheaper place instead of the expensive touristy options, which can be more authentic. Being okay with being temporarily uncomfortable is not only important for travel, but it's also important to be financially frugal in order to generate wealth and save money. A lot of the times you're going to need to cut out extras and be a little bit uncomfortable to save money. For me, I'm staying in a guardianship flat right now with my boyfriend in a small room. We're saving a bunch of money, but currently it's a little bit uncomfortable because there's not a lot of space, but we know it's just temporary. Sometimes you need to be temporarily uncomfortable to help your future goals. The concept of being temporarily uncomfortable doesn't only work for finance and travel, but it could also work for working out and getting healthy. We all know working out is not comfortable, and I'd be surprised if you said it was, because it's not, at least for me. And eating healthy isn't comfortable either. Who wants to eat an apple? I'd rather eat cake. Being okay with being temporarily uncomfortable is a skill that can be transferable throughout life. Traveling solo also helps you to be self-motivated and not wait for other people. You set your own itinerary and you can do whatever you want when you want. Don't get me wrong, traveling with friends is fun, but I always recommend traveling solo because that's when you truly start knowing yourself and that's when you truly start growing as an individual. If you're passionate about building up your finances, you need to be okay with breaking away from the herd and not allowing your friends or anybody else to persuade you away from your goals. This also applies to beauty and fashion trends as well. But those are just trends. They come and go, and if you're trying to adhere to them all the time, you will spend a lot of money. Being able to stand your ground and not be influenced by other people is such an exceptional quality to have. Something else that is really important to note, especially if you're a woman and you want to have kids, is when you are going to have kids, because for most people, you either have your 20s or your 30s. Traveling with kids is not the same as traveling without kids. You need to figure out what you want your life to look like. If you want to spend your 20s working up the corporate ladder, you will gain financial independence and financial security, but that's all you're gonna gain. If you're lucky, when you reach 30, you will have 30 more years to work. That is plenty of time to build a business, change careers, start a new career. You have plenty of time when you are 30 to figure out what you want to do. I was in my late 20s when I started investing, and to financial gurus, that is late. But I don't regret anything, because instead of spending my 20s working for a future that I may not have, I spent it making memories, which to me is priceless. Thank you all for watching. My name is Megan Ruth. I'm a Canadian living in London, England. I moved here initially back in 2018, and then I had to go back to Canada because my visa expired, so I moved back here on a new visa in 2021, and it was then when I really started getting into personal finance. And when I went on YouTube to learn all about personal finance and how to be smart with my money, I found that most finance gurus on YouTube target people with money, because you need to have money to invest and you need to have money to do a lot of the things they tell you to do with your money. So if you don't have the money to invest, then these finance YouTubers are not the greatest to take advice from and follow. My objective here on YouTube with Broke Finance is to create financial literacy content that targets other people like me, or who I was 5 years ago. Broke 20-somethings, creatives, people who are just out of university, students, people that generally can't afford to take advice from these big gun millionaires, because not all financial advice is created equal. And I think a lot of financial gurus avoid talking about that or avoid mentioning that because it's not in their best interest, because they're trying to get the clicks and they're trying to get the affiliate marketing and the free stocks and everything. So it is in their best interest to have people invest because they profit from it. If the idea of Broke Finance sounds like something that you might be interested in and that you might get a lot out of, please do subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more about my guardianship and how I save 30% of my income on minimum wage, click this video right here. Thank you all for watching again. See you next time.